Hi everyone, welcome back to the Relax and Craft YouTube channel. My name's Fleur and today we're going to be talking about jewellery making tools, what you need to get started, how to use them, and if you really do need those mega expensive tools or whether a more budget friendly toolkit will suffice. Let's find out. So let's start with looking at our round nose pliers. Now I find round nose pliers are your sort of like superhero of your toolkit. So they are used for lots and lots of different things. We can use them for lots of different curves and loops within our jewellery making pieces, but they are a rounded jaw plier that are nice and smooth, so there's no serrations on them. They're lovely and smooth, conical nose, so we can make loops from sort of like very small loops at the top to larger loops at the bottom. So you can create wrapped loops, you can create roll wrap loops, you can create open loops, you can create findings with these pliers as well. They really are such a fantastic complement to any toolkit, and they are so easy to use. So if we were just going to make a nice little loop on the end of our pliers here, you can see we can make a teeny tiny little loop like so. We could make an even bigger loop, and we can keep going, and you can see you're going to create perfect loops every single time because you've got those gorgeous conical round nose jaws to work around. You can also create little roll wraps, so where you just carry on rolling your wire down the pliers, creating like a little spring. We can just get that little squeeze closed. So they are really great for adding lots and lots of different dimensions to your jewellery making pieces, lots of different curves and loops in your wire work pieces. They really are a fantastic fantastic sort of like pair of pliers for your basic toolkit. So next, let's move on to our flat jaw pliers, or also known as your flat nose pliers. Now these are designed with these big broad flat jaws which make it really easy to hold on to whatever you're working on. So if you need to straighten your wire, or even just to work harden your wire, you can hold on to the end and you can then work harden this piece of wire if you need to. You've got a real good purchase on there because you've got those really nice wide jaws. So if you're wanting to straighten your wire, really great for that. If you need to bend your wire in precise angles, then you can do that with your flat nose pliers very easily, using the jaws of the pliers as sort of like a mandrel to bend against. You can see straight away you're going to get precision and consistency in each of those bends. Really great for that. Really good as well if you're a metalsmith and you need more purchase to hold on to something which is slightly maybe a thicker gauge of wire or a sheet piece of metal, so you can really get hold of the purchase on it as well because of those lovely big flat jaws. So again, another really important pair of pliers for your jewellery making toolkit. Now quite similar to your flat jaw pliers are your chain nose pliers or your snipe nose pliers. So chain nose are sort of like an amalgamation between your round nose and your flat nose. So you're going to get this really nice curved angle on the outside of the jaw, but on the inside of the jaw you've got that really nice big flat plate inside the jaws of the pliers. So a perfect marriage between the round nose and the flat nose. So we use these probably near enough all the time. They're great for getting into smaller angles because they taper down to a point. So you've got a larger jaw at the bottom and a smaller point at the top. As you can see, these have got a slight bend on them, which are great for if you're doing things like your chainmail or precision wire work where you need to get into smaller spaces. So they will grip your wire again without leaving any marks on them because of the smooth jaw in the inside. But you could use these for making a half loop, so you can see we've got a nice bend to our wire and a straight where the jaw was. The other thing that we use these for is in conjunction with our flat nose pliers, or another combination of either two pairs of these, we use these to open and close our jump rings. So when we're opening and closing jump rings, we always need two pairs of pliers which have got smooth flat jaws on the inside. So these are probably your workhorse pliers in your toolkit. You're going to grab for them in lots and lots of different situations. So lastly, we're going to talk about our cutters. So these are side cutters. So if we turn them to the side, you can see that we've got two distinctive sides to these. We've got a side which is flat on the back, and we have a side which has got a real sharp sort of like indent in them. So these are your cutting jaws, and you can see that they go down into these points, but from the back they are completely flat. And as the name suggests, we use these for cutting our wire. So depending on the cutters that you have, the manufacturer will actually tell you, or the supplier will tell you, how thick a gauge of wire you can cut with those, because obviously some of your cutters will be quite fine and only used to cutting up to a certain gauge of wire. Some are more heavy duty and will cut a variety of wires. Some are specific only to memory wire. So we can only cut soft metals with our jewellery making cutters. So metals like your bare copper, your sterling silver, your brass, your bronze, those kind of metals we can cut with these. We cannot cut memory wire with these, because memory wire is a real hard steel and it will damage the actual jaws of your pliers. So only specific memory wire cutters can be used for memory wire, but everything else, cutting your beading thread, these are perfect. And what you'll get when you cut with these is you get two different edges. So when I cut, you will be able to see, hopefully, if I just bring that really, let me just get that really in focus for you. So we can see that this end here, which was on the inside of the pliers, has got a real sharp little point on it. So it's cut it on an angle. And this part here, this one, is nice and flat. So the back of the pliers make a flat cut, and the front of the pliers make a more pinched cut. So you can see there. Now both have their uses for jewellery making. If you had a nice pinch cut like this, then that means that if you were tucking this wire in on a wrap loop, you'd be able to tuck it in a lot easier because it's got that nice pinch to it. So these are, again, really, really great. Now there are other cutters that you can get which are like top cutters. So these will pinch the wire every single time, so you'll get that nice pinched effect on the wire. And these are great for when you want to get in to a piece of wire that you want to sort of like trim to size. So if we want to see how long we can trim, we can just cut and take that away, and again we can cut. So if I wanted to say cut a couple of centimeters of wire, I can see exactly where I am cutting, and I can have a precision cut every single time. But as you can see, you will get that pinch cut on either side. So you won't get a flat cut with these, you'll get a pinch cut. These are great if you've got a little tiny wrap loop that you've made that you want to get in and you want to cut precisely where you need it to be. So if we say here, I can see, if I can hold it, you can see there that I can see exactly where I'm cutting around the piece, and I've now got my precision cut. So whichever pliers you have, there is a sort of like a space in your toolkit for both of these. You can get different kinds of cutters. So these ones are very, very fine cutters. You can see that they go to a real point at the end. So if you wanted a more sort of like intricate piece that you were cutting, you can see that these will get in a lot smoother and a lot quicker into your piece than these were. These were a little bit more chunkier. These are your finer cutters. So these would be and these are definitely an essential for all types of jewellery making, and to have both of them is a bit of a bonus. If you can get both, brilliant. But again, the sort of like the finished article of your pieces really does dictate how well your cutters are and how sharp they are as well. Also, these can be resharpened if you need to. So this is my dream team of pliers. Now there are lots of different pliers that we can add to our toolkit as we sort of like progress with our jewellery making journey. There's things like your baling pliers, your crimping pliers, your looping pliers, your one-step looper pliers. There's lots of things that we can add to our toolkit to make it a little bit more fancy. But these are all we need to get started. And in actual fact, you don't need one pair of cutters. So these are sort of like your basic essential tools. Now, wherever you buy your tools from, make sure that you look after those tools, because these tools are built to last. As long as you keep them nice and dry, and if they need a little bit of an oiling, using something like a 3-in-1 oil or a WD-40 just to keep the jaws nice and lubricated is perfect. Make sure you wipe the oil off before you start using it, because you don't want the oil on any of your lovely gemstones or on your wire when you're making your pieces. But yeah, just look after your tools and they will look after you. Now, like I said before, you can upgrade these tools to really fancy tools. You could upgrade them to tools that cost sort of like upwards of £20 a pair. That is entirely up to you on how you want to sort of like spend your money with your tools. But a basic toolkit like this will set you back between sort of like £25–35, and you know that you've got quality tools. If you were looking for a toolkit, then I do have one on my website, sorry. I will put all the links below. Mine comes in the little tool case, so everything stays nice and neat and tidy. So have a little look at that if you want to. But wherever you buy your tools from, whatever price point you pay for your tools, just make sure that they don't stay in that packet. Make sure you get them out and you start this amazing journey of jewellery making. Thanks ever so much for watching. If you've liked this video, I'd love it if you could give it a quick comment or a like. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. But until next time, thank you ever so much for watching.